Hey guys, I'm Greg. Welcome to Gregsbeerreviews today. Getting thirsty, how about you? Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews. Oh, I know this is going to be a treat. This one was sent to me by Parrish. This is one of Stone's Brewing beer. This is their 2014, and I'm probably going to butcher this name up. It's Fyodors, Fyodors for Odors Classic, which is a 2013 Stone Imperial Russian Stout, aged in bourbon barrels. 2014 series, batch number 3, and this is a 13.9% ABV beer. And Beer Advocate says that it is a 13.9, but Rate Beer says it's only 10%. So they do several of their bourbon barrel aged series, and the ABVs probably vary a little bit from one to the other, or depending on the style and batch number that they do. But this is the batch number 3 2014 series, and this one is 13.9%, which is almost a 14%er. So this is a huge beer. Paris, I kept it as long as I could, buddy. It's been staring at me every time I opened up the door. I probably had it a month or so, but it's time to do it. It's been staring at me so long. I've kept it in the fridge upstairs. If I put it downstairs in one of those fridges, it wouldn't have been staring at me as often. But every time I open up the fridge up here to get a go-to beer, I see that thing sitting there, and it's bourbon barrel aged, and it's a Stone beer on top of that. Makes me want to open it. So that's what we're going to do here. And like I tell you guys, a lot of times when y'all send me beers, I really don't feel good about sticking those in the fridge downstairs and keeping them for a year, 2, 3, or 5, because it's not fair to you to buy the beer and pay the shipping to get it to me, and for me to hold on to it that long. You might not even be watching the reviews by that time. So, and Parrish rubbed me back and told me you can keep it as long as you want to, and I kept it for a while. But I think it's better for me to do these in a timely manner. Now, if it's really boozy, I may regret this, but it's a 13.9, almost 14% or so. It might have a slight boozy taste to it, but I'm a big fan of everything that Greg Cook, the CEO, and Mitch Steele, the head brewer out there, does. So I'm probably going to be impressed with it. So that's what I'm hoping for anyway, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and open it up today and see what we end up with on this almost 14%er. But it's a bourbon barrel, so I'm a big fan of that style of beer, especially in the Russian Imperial Stout version. All right, guys. It doesn't have. Let me see. Commercial description on this one. It says. It doesn't have the ABV, is what I was going to say. It doesn't, and like I said, this one says 10.8% here on Rate Beer, and this one is a lot bigger than that. It says commercial description: just one wooden barrel of this beer was produced. The beer is Stone Imperial Russian Stout, and it was aged for about a year in a used bourbon barrel. From that wooden cask, we were only able to keg up very little. Expect to see the next appearance of this at the Sterling Brewing World Bistro and Gardens after it opens early this summer. So I'm hoping that description pertains to this beer and not some other bourbon barrel beer that Stone does. So with the ABV at 10.8 listed here and this one being at 13.9, I am not sure. So over to the food pairings for this beer. It says cheeses of the buttery Brie, Gouda, Havarti, and Swiss, and since it is a since it is a Russian Imperial Stout, it goes well with your chocolate dishes. But this is a big beer. I don't know if you'd want to pop this open for your first beer of the day or the evening or whenever you do your first beer. this may be a little tough to drink if it's your first beer of the day. Meat for this is beef, smoked meat, game, and grill meat. Glass for a pint, Becker, 9 tumbler, snifter, oversized wine glass. I got the double glass for this one. And this says it can be sold for a long time, and it can be sold for a long, long, long time. I mean, this beer would probably keep 10, 15, 20 years if you sell it correctly. So, with that being said, like I said, I don't have the IBUs on this, which is really not that critical on this style of beer, which is a double or Imperial Stout. But let's get the cap off of this bad boy and see what this one's about. Parrish, thanks again, brother. You're #1 in my book for all the beers you sent me. I think I owe you a beer or 50, and I'm going to make my damnedest effort to meet up with you when I'm out there in August. Hopefully we can get together. Man, this one's in tight, guys. I cannot get it out. I might have to get the pliers out for this one. Nope, can't do it, guys. Alright, I got the Fyodors here. A lot of times they're like that, especially in this style of beer where it's really thick and sticky and it locks that cork down. So this will definitely get it open. So let me get this thing on there and give it a twist. Whoa, that one is really in there. So let's tighten it up a notch. I'm hoping the cork's not going to break off of this. Ah, there we go. It's coming out. Ah, pop. And Stone Brewing written on the cork on the top side, and the same thing on the bottom side. Nothing extra special on the cork, doesn't say anything about the beer on there, so let's get it into the glass. Right down the center on this one, 14%. And this one looks like a big 750 milliliter, but it is not. This one is only 500 milliliters, so it's the same style of bottle. It looks like a miniature wine bottle. So we're going to share the other half of this with the other half. I'm sure she'll enjoy that. I've had some of the subs say they envy her for being able to taste all the beers that I do, but I'm sure she enjoys that, and I appreciate those comments, guys. Yeah, but usually, especially if it's a bigger bottle like this, or a Bomber, or 750, she usually gets a half a glass of those, and when there's just a little 12-ounce bottle, she gets a taste or two out of those glasses as well. So she's probably tasted 99.9% of the beers I reviewed, and then we're up to 13, almost 1,400 beers. So her palate has expanded, and she's tasted quite a few beers along with me. Maybe one of these days we'll get her to get on camera. I have a lot of people asking for that, but she's just not up to that yet. So, but anyway, over to the light. There is none. It is pitch black, guys. It is dark as night. Kind of expected that, though. Stone does some great beers. Their Russians, their IPAs are all damn awesome, if you know what I mean. Anybody that's drank any of their beers knows them guys know what they're doing. Mitch, the head brewer out there, does wonderful things, and he travels around a lot too, so I'm sure he's got some really capable guys that are able to produce beers while he's gone. So it's a team effort when you're as big as Stone is and produce as many different great beers as they do. So I'm a big fan of theirs, as you can tell by now. So looks great. The head has dissipated. We're down to about 1/4 of a finger on there. It's just barely covering up the beer. Let's get a nose on it. Wow, the bourbon is just immaculate smelling on this beer. And what they say on the commercial description, that this beer was aged a full year. Parrish, I know this was probably a fairly pricey beer. When they have a beer that sets in a cask that long and takes up that space, and it's that big of a beer, it is a very expensive beer to brew and store. And then that's why it drives those costs up. So I wouldn't be surprised if this wasn't a $15 or more beer. So Parrish, you may put some comments in what this beer costs. I'm sure it was pretty hard to get according to what the description said. They didn't do a great big batch of this, and then very limited release. So I have not seen this beer here. I get a lot of the Stone beers here, but a lot of the ones he sent me I have not seen or can get my hands on here. So bourbon, roasted caramelly malt, chocolate, coffee, licorice, dark fruit, plums, dates, raisins. Wow, it's got it going on. This is a very complex beer. But the bourbon in this is just amazing. It is. And I've had some bourbon beers in my time that didn't even have a bourbon. I mean, I hate to call out names, but Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Stout, there was no bourbon in it whatsoever. I mean, I'd be ashamed if I called my beer Bourbon Stout and it was as weak and non-bourbony as it, with bourbon printed all over the front of the bottle as it is. But this, I mean, I haven't even tasted it yet, and the bourbon aroma blows that out. Matter of fact, I bought a whole 6-pack of it, and I reviewed one, and I gave all the rest of the 5 to the other half. She drank the rest of them, so I wasn't even impressed enough to even drink another one of those. So, and I hate to call out anybody like that, but evidently the barrels they're using are well used. They're not fresh, reused bourbon barrels. They put beer in them multiple times, and the bourbon is gone, and they're calling it a bourbon stout, and it's not. So I have no desire to buy that beer again. I would not recommend it. On the other hand, we're talking about this beer, and it has a massive bourbon stout. If you don't like bourbon, you're not going to like this. But if you're a bourbon fan and an Imperial Stout fan, you're probably going to like this. But enough about me flapping my gums on this. I haven't even tasted it yet. Let's do that. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Parrish, my brother. Cheers to you, sir. The bourbon taste in that is massive. It's almost like doing a shot of bourbon. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. This may be the best bourbon barrel aged stout I've ever had. Wow. Now there is a little alcohol in there. I'm not going to lie to you. This is almost 14%. I don't see how you could possibly hide all 14% of that alcohol. But it is pretty damn tasty. Wow. I knew it was going to be that good. When he sent me this and I got it and I looked at it and I read about it, I'm going, wow, wow, wow. So I know this is a fairly pricey beer. Parrish, you might put in the comments what this beer costs, but if I was guessing, it would be between $15 and $20 for one bottle. So, fairly pricey beer. This is a sipper, an easy sipper, not a chugger. This is a big enough bottle where you could share this, and that's what I'm going to do with the other half. But the bourbon aroma and taste in this beer is massive. I can probably tell you that it's from a fresh used bourbon barrel instead of something that's had beer in it multiple times. Well, the alcohol is there. It's not a super burning sensation, but it is a big beer, and you can tell that by tasting it. But we're going to let it warm up and see where we end up with this. But right now, I'm blown away. The hair is blowing back, socks are blowed off. It's pretty damn awesome. So, wow, like I said, maybe the best one I've ever had. And I've had some good ones too over the last couple of years. My good friend Dave sent me some 50/50 Eclipse Brewing 50/50, and they were pretty damn awesome. And they were in the big bottles, wax covered, like $30 a bottle. And this is very comparable to that. So, Parrish, yeah, you know what you pay for this, and you may be or may not be at liberty to tell me what this costs, but I would assume this is a very, very, very pricey beer. So, alright guys, we're going to let it warm up, and I'll come back and we'll do the final chug on this one. I'm super impressed with this so far. Alright guys, I'm back. Got just a little left here. This is a awesome beer. Been sipping on it about an hour now. It's still got just as much bourbon now that it did when I first opened up the bottle. If you like bourbon, you will love this beer, especially if you like a Russian Imperial Stout of this ABV, almost 14%, 13.8. Wow. I'm blown away by how good this beer is, but I'm not surprised being it comes from Stone and it was such a limited release version of this beer. So, bourbon, rich roasted malt, caramel, toffee, licorice, some dark fruit in there. Wow. Let's do the final chug. I am not going to lie to you. This does have some alcohol to it. It's almost 14%. Especially now that it's warmed up. Getting just a slight hint of some burning in the back of the throat, but it's not bad. I mean, you got to realize what you're drinking at almost 14%. This is a huge monster Russian Imperial Stout. So, definitely not a beer you'd want to take on as the first beer of the day. Wow. It's delicious. Parrish, this is awesome, brother. I mean, I have not seen this beer. Probably doesn't even send this beer out on the East Coast from there. So, I'm very appreciative of you sending me this particular beer. It is awesome, guys. As far as I'm concerned, it's a 10. It's a 10 out of 10, and I would probably give it a 10 and a half if the scale went that far. But mine goes to 10. It is a awesome beer. And it gets to 10 from me. So let's see what everybody else thinks about this. We'll go over to Beer Advocate. Wow. And they say 99, world class. Will not argue with that whatsoever. It is a world class beer. Definitely worth picking up if you like the style. You're into bourbons and the Russian Imperial Stouts. And a big beer. Just remember, this is almost 14%. Wow. Monster beer. Monster beer. Over to Rate Beer. Well, this is not surprising either. Great Beer says 100 overall and 99 in the style. Could not agree more. Could not agree more with this beer. It is simply awesome. If you can get your hands on this one, I don't know if you can find this on the shelf now. It was such a limited release and in limited distribution, I would say probably. Because I have not seen this beer here on the East Coast, so it may have been so limited they kept it on the West Coast for the guys out there to drink. So I'm not sure. So anybody that's got this further out east or Midwest, if you've had this beer or seen this beer or drank this beer, give me some comments back on this one. It's a 10 in my book, guys. It is definitely worth picking up if you see it on the shelf. Probably a great candidate for cellaring 3, 5, even 10 years or longer. I don't think there's anything in this beer that would be detrimental to cellaring this beer for a long period. So, I'm blown away. My hair is all blowed back. Socks are off. So, it's delicious, guys. I could not recommend this beer more highly. So, if you've had it, give me some comments back on this and whether you liked it, didn't like it. Hit the like button, rate, comment, subscribe, and let's go see what's in the fridge tomorrow. I don't think we'll get us a 10, but we'll look and see what we can come up with. See you then.